Snicked. Hey, everybody. It's me and Michael, the Big Two. We're here back to talk about the Big Two. We're the best at what we do, and what we do is very nice. We're here to talk about Wolverine, really Logan, James Howlett. You want to do it real quick again?
Ching.
It's not the noise, though.
Oh. Ching.
We are going to talk about Wolverine today. He's a really cool guy. He's got a long, weird history that's very strange and complicated. I was at Barnes & Noble, and I think I showed you this. I found what looked like one of those classic kind of junky visual dictionaries. It was even from that one company, like DK. I can't remember what the actual Discover something
like that
makes all of those like visual, like Star Wars visual dictionary, Lego visual dictionary, that kind of thing. Here's a picture of that. Insert picture here, Marshall. And even based on the cover, I just thought this is for little babies or something, and it's probably kind of dumb or whatever. But we were doing this episode, so I opened it up and I thought, oh,
pretty cool.
This is actually an extremely well done resource.
Yeah.
Because we're doing this episode because people like Wolverine, obviously, but also because Wolverine is a really complicated guy.
Yes, he is.
And trying to understand his history is really difficult sometimes. And there's just so many, even after reading probably more than 100 some issues of Wolverine over the course of preparing for this episode, I mean, probably more than 200 or something. I am still uncovering weird layers of his history of, you know, his relationship with Mystique, and when does he regain his memory, and how much of his memory did he even lose in the first place? And it can get really complicated. What the heck was he doing for literally hundreds of years before he got to the X-Men?
Yeah.
Besides, I guess, being in wars. There's this assumption that I guess that he was in the Howling Commandos. I don't know that that is a thing that's ever actually been canon.
Not in the I don't know if it's in the comics or not. I know it's in some of the animated stuff.
I think
which
it was
is always fun.
It was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, wasn't it? Didn't they do that?
Yeah, it was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Maybe.
That's a good show. Everybody should see that show.
Yeah.
Everybody should watch that. It's a good show.
I might also
and it's a follow-up show.
I might also be confusing that with an issue of Fables that is Bigby in World War II.
That would make sense.
And it's very good.
We need to talk about Fables. One of these.
I think you would like
episodes. I love it.
Oh, you've read it?
I've read some of it.
Okay.
And I liked what I read. And obviously I played The Wolf Among Us.
Oh, of course. But
I can't think of another character that has such a like diverse background of just seemingly like, you know, attributes and experiences and abilities that don't really, or that shouldn't fit together necessarily.
Like what?
But they do really well. Like why are his abilities healing and claws?
Yeah.
Like, and metal bones, you know, like, I get it in the narrative. But you know, it's weird that like they could have made that 3 different characters.
Yeah.
And certainly they have, but like the fact that it all started with this one guy that has all of these all together, and he spends his time in, you know, he's a Canadian guy that spends his time where? In Japan, of course.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Japan and like a lot of different countries. Japan, what's the one that Madripoor spends a lot of time as a basically like assassin type guy for the CIA and stuff like that, doing black ops jobs in Madripoor and things like that.
The various island nations that the mutants spend their time on as well.
Different stuff as Patch.
Yeah, as Patch, yes, true.
Yeah, that's a whole, because that's a pre-memory loss thing, I think.
I don't even remember. That is how complicated the background is there's so much.
There's so much.
I can never keep it straight.
It's hard to know what's going on.
It's really
Who
good.
needs to know what's going on when you can just be confused for the duration of this episode?
That's what we do.
So let's start out in a place where everyone started out.
Yes.
First appearance of Wolverine was in Hulk 180 and 181, July 1974, written by Len Wein, penciled by Herb Trimpe, inked by Jack Abel, lettered by Artie Simek, colored by Glynis Oliver. It's a weird Hulk story, and it's not really important. The long and short of it is that Hulk is in Canada, where he's trying to fight the Wendigo, which is actually a mountain woman's brother, and she's going to try to transfer the Wendigo curse to the Hulk from her brother, who is currently the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Wolverine just kind of shows up, completely unrelated to any of this mountain witch stuff.
Right.
Because the Canadian government, Department H, I guess.
The Mounties wanted him out there.
Yeah, they just sent him out to be like, stop those guys.
Shoo.
Stop those dudes.
Go get them. Yeah.
And it's fun. I love seeing a first issue for a character, the early stories for a character, because you get to see the weird stuff that either is where things did first get established or things that don't make any sense for the character we know today.
Absolutely.
So would you like to hear my little list of weird first appearance stuff for Wolverine?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Wolverine is described by the author as a living, raging powerhouse who's bound to knock you on your emerald posterior.
I'm going to start using that. Maybe not emerald.
Pretty good.
I don't know any green guys.
It's
but
good.
when I meet one, I'm going to talk about his posterior.
You're right.
For sure.
There's a lot of good, silly narration in these issues of like, watch out, Hulk. Don't you know that the Wolverine isn't your real friend?
It was the best. And it was that dialogue that has everybody like saying what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm the Hulk and I'm going to throw you. Hulk, throw you now.
He thought little man was my enemy, but little man fighting my enemy. Little man must be friend if fighting enemy. So I will help little man fight enemy. Like that is not exactly what he says.
It's
but
pretty
it's
close,
very
though.
close.
It's the kind of thing where like if somebody's never read a comic book before, I'm not going to send them to that era
not.
necessarily.
Send him the cartoon.
Yeah, well, honestly, but like if I'm looking for specifically a comic book, I'm going to steer clear of that. But I think when you're in the medium and you go back to that, it's like that feels charming. You know, it's like seeing the humble beginnings sort of like this is just how these things were written.
Yeah.
And that was completely sufficient for audiences, you know, of the time.
And it's fun and silly. And it's the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Oh, and he's got a funny costume. Tiny
Wolverine
does.
Yeah, he's got like whiskers and his claws are much more like they're kind of round on top and flat on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of more like actual like Wolverine talons, I guess, more so than the kind of like cylindrical knives that they become, and then eventually more knife-like knives when people like Dave Cockrum and John Byrne end up drawing the character. But it is a weird, interesting, different thing. He's got the very short cowl,
ears,
the whiskers, the pattern on the stripes isn't quite the same and everything like that.
I didn't hate the suit, honestly.
No, it's fun nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know that it's my favorite, which we'll talk about later on. But like I liked the head shape at the very least. I like that his
You're a small cowl guy?
Smaller sometimes. Well, but it really depends on the artist too, because like in a lot of cases, the big cowl does a lot for like making an imposing silhouette.
It depends on the version for sure.
We'll talk about Frank Miller in a little bit. Frank Miller draws a cowl, dude.
Very good.
So good at it.
Very good.
But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, Michael.
Keep going.
Other weird first appearance thing, Wolverine describes himself as only 2 feet shorter than the Hulk. Felt strange. And then very quickly after that, Hulk is described by the author as 8 feet and Wolverine as 5'5", which 5'5" is what we do understand Wolverine to be.
Yeah.
Hulk, I guess, is 8 feet. I don't know. Wolverine also, he says that his claws are diamond hard adamantium, but they do not pierce Hulk's skin.
Good. Great.
And he makes a point of that too. He's like, well, my claws aren't getting through that guy's skin, so I guess I'll attack the Wendigo. And that's when Hulk gets his weird existential crisis of, is this guy my friend or my enemy?
He's attacking my enemy, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So
he knows English
friend.
maxims.
Yeah, somehow the Hulk knows that, but he doesn't know how to just...
He's read The Art of War. Sun Tzu.
Hulk know to beware the man who fake a limp. That The Art of War? I actually don't know.
It might be. You know, it comes and goes pretty quick, and Wolverine gets beaten by the Hulk. Yeah. Hulk just kind of in the end smacks him pretty hard, and then he's just out of it. Yeah. And that's it.
Thankfully, he has metal bones, or else he'd be in pieces.
Diamond hard adamantium bones.
Yeah, can't forget that it's diamond hard, whatever that means.
Wolverine is always diamond hard.
That's all my boys are diamond hard.
It's good.
The hardest of the hard, they say.
So we've got a first appearance set, right? There's a couple of directions we could go. We could go now to his next appearance in real life. In real life, which would be Giant Size X-Men #1, which took place a little less than a year after this. Kind of surprised. I thought it was later for some reason. Yeah. But I thought it would be cool to go all the way back to the beginning of the man's history. Yep. So at this point, all we know about Wolverine is that he works for the Canadian government. He is really strong. He runs around really fast. And he's got these cool claws. I don't know that we even have said anything about his skeleton or anything like that at this point.
I don't know. I don't know if we have. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you learn more about Wolverine over time. And like, there's this whole thing about how he's got memory loss. He doesn't remember his past, and he's got this adamantium skeleton, and he doesn't remember how he got it. He's like, I guess this is my mutant power. Like, maybe this is just, I've always had this. I don't know. And he also has the healing factor and everything like that, but he doesn't know his own history.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long time, we're used to knowing that stuff because of the movies, but for a long time, nobody did know that stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like late that they started to unravel some of that. So you get the Weapon X stuff, which we'll talk about later, and that came up in the 90s. And then you didn't get the actual real full-on history of the guy until the early 2000s and even into the mid-2000s with House of M.
Totally. Yeah.
So I thought we could go all the way back to the very beginning with Origins, Origin.
I think it's just
Wolverine Origin.
Yeah.
Wolverine Origins is the ongoing book that starts after House of M, which is him hunting down the people who did all the things to him in his past and stuff like that, now that he has his memory back. Okay, so Wolverine the Origin, written by Paul Jenkins, drawn and inked by Andy Kubert, the colors by Richard Isanove, lettered by Saida Temofonte and Wes Abbott and John Rochelle. Little background for you. The full story of Marvel's most mystery-shrouded mutant revealed at last. Long before he became an X-Man, before he was transformed by Weapon X, he was a boy named James Howlett. But what tragedy could strike that would set him on the path to becoming the ferocious Wolverine? Follow James from a life of privilege and that fateful first snikt through the devastating events that rip him from his family and ultimately drive him into the wilderness. There in the snowy wilds of Canada, the feral young man, now known as Logan, will encounter another mutant very much like him, also torn between man and animal, and one who could be his greatest ally or his fiercest foe.
Pretty good.
So that's what this one is. It is a, 6-issue series. Again, done by Paul Jenkins, who we've talked about before on our episode about Thunderbolts. He did The Sentry.
Yeah.
And I think in my notes, I wrote that this book does something that Jenkins just does really well with Mythos and with Sentry, and also here, of not doing a retcon necessarily, but all of those are flashing. So Paul Jenkins also did The Sentry, which we've talked about, and the Mythos books, which we've talked about. And he does something in those that he does in this very, very well, which is not doing like a retcon or anything necessarily, but adding history and adding context in the background of events that we've already seen.
Yeah.
So in this, he does a really good job with Andy Kubert of just kind of creating a backstory for Wolverine that is genuinely unexpected. Like, I read that description and it gives away the kind of the twist. Yeah. What's the twist, Michael?
The twist is that you think, there are two boys that they introduce in this story. One is James Howlett, who's kind of a well-to-do Canadian dandy who lives in a
dandy
palace.
He's a young boy.
What's it? Is a dandy not a young boy?
A dandy to me is a young man who's out on the town and like romancing the ladies and stuff like that.
I assume a dandy is just a rich guy, rich nepo. It's the old timey word for nepo baby.
It's kind of a like The Secret Garden but messed up.
Yes, it is kind of like The Secret Garden but messed up.
Mom is missing or dead.
Look at you with the literature. I'm proud of you.
Girl is nice and isn't from here. There's a boy who lives on the property and is one of the wild people, maybe. And there's a sickly, frail boy who never goes outside.
Yes.
And which one of these do you think is Wolverine?
Right.
It's the girl.
It's the girl. The girl is Wolverine.
Girl.
That's a lie.
It's
not
lie.
The girl. So there's James, the rich kid. There's
the frail young boy.
Yeah. There's also Logan, the Logan family.
Something Logan. Yeah. I can't remember what his actual.
I don't know if they
Daniel?
give it. Thomas Logan is his dad. I don't think they give the little boy Logan a first name. They just call him Dog.
Call him. Yeah.
He's just Dog.
They call him Dog,
which is just so sad. that makes my heart.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how!
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
Yeah. Old man Howlett, not a nice guy.
Not a nice guy at all. So between James and Dog, you think that Dog, the wild boy, is going to become become Logan, who we know, especially with since his last name is that.
Yeah, and he looks like his dad looks like Logan. He looks like Wolverine, the Logan that we know growing up.
Yeah.
And then this guy starts to grow up and also starts to kind of look that way.
Yeah.
While James still looks, I mean, literally kind of like the kid from the Secret Garden, from the 90s Secret Garden.
Yeah.
But then it's not that.
Totally.
That's the trick.
Yeah. That's what they do to you.
Yeah. Because you're reading it. It was something I love of in some books of where they play your own foreknowledge against you. Of you think that this guy is going to be Wolverine, and they make him start to do some stuff that just kind of is terrible. Like he sort of like starts to sexually harass Rose and is a really bad guy and doing bad stuff. And his dad is kind of not a good guy either. And then ultimately it all comes to a head, and gosh, what exactly happens? Because James's dad is a nice guy, and but his mom is not around, and you're not really sure why.
Yeah, she's kind of emotionally distant. Like she's in the house, but she keeps to herself.
She's like mentally not all there. Seemingly some kind of like trauma happened or something.
Yeah, and she's like, it's like hinted that she has these, like, has some physical scarring that she won't let anybody else see other than her like handmaids or whatever. So that's kind of a mystery and everything like that. But yeah, the dad, John Howlett, is nice dude trying to do right. His dad, James's grandfather, is kind of a jerk. And so, so they're kind of a snot, like your stereotypical snotty rich family.
Yeah.
The Logans, Thomas Logan specifically, the old man, is really jaded and hates John Howlett like a ton.
Yeah, he's very much like, don't trust anything that comes from them. We're not like them. They don't like us. We're separate. You keep it separate. Yeah. It's like Sabrina's dad and Sabrina, we sit in the front of the car, they sit in the back of the car, and we should keep it that way.
Yeah.
But in a much less pragmatic way.
Totally,
Like this guy is very much like, it's a cynical thing.
He works for the Howletts, but he hates them.
Yeah.
A ton. Yeah. And so, so he's kind of, indoctrinating his kid in that way. And eventually, the kid is just acting out. Dog is just doing all these awful things.
Yeah.
John Howlett. Yeah, truly. Well, and John Howlett's not having any of it. And he's like, if this doesn't change, we're going to, you're not going to be sticking around.
Yeah. There is a point where you can't just be the nice, kind guy anymore. You have to say like, this is got to stop.
Yes, exactly.
And dog goes too far.
Yeah.
And they have to kick him out. Yeah. But then it's been a little bit since I read this one. Thomas is the one who then comes back.
Yes. Yeah.
And does the deed.
He comes home and he thinks, and dog thinks that he's going to get beaten again. Yeah. That's a common occurrence in that household. Yeah. But Thomas comes home and says, well, no, it's not you. It's these Howletts. Yeah. So they go to the manor house. I forget it's this whole like dark series of events where, people are assaulted. John is fatally shot. Yeah. Ultimately.
It's like a lot of, you better stop or we're going to call the police or something like that. Or like, you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that. You don't know what I want to do, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then John is shot and killed.
Yeah. And which is when James kind of loses it. And that's when these little bone claws pop out of his little baby hands. Yes. Not baby. He's like 12. Yeah. But that's when his mutant abilities like show up. Yeah. Yeah. And it is really, really well put together.
It's like kind of grotesque and like spooky and like kind of plays out like a fable or like a ghost story a little bit, like a horror story of like all these things. You think it's going to be this other kid over here, but actually all these things have been slowly boiling up in this sick child. Yeah. Which is interesting because he's got the healing factor. Mm-hmm. So it's like this moment, there is something to that when you come to adolescence, that's when the mutant gene kicks into gear usually. Yeah. So it's probably some combination of being at that age and this intense stressful event because the anger in those early days, anger is what makes him pop his claws, sometimes involuntarily.
Yeah. Which I think is like, with his mom's like scarring, I think it's implied that at some point that he is like forgotten or repressed. Maybe like there's
Interesting.
He might have been the one who like injured her. And that's part of what makes her so distant, because she clearly has a very poor view of him.
Yeah.
Like she instantly after this event, she ostracizes him and says like, get out, you're an animal, you're a monster. Like he's going after him and telling him off. It's
well, and then
whole,
she kills herself.
Yes. Yeah. In this horrifying panel, like her face on that panel. You remember seeing this?
Yeah.
It is like really, really just haunting the way it's drawn.
Well, yeah, and she walks off to the window and basically says something to the effect of like, "Oh, we're not going to have to. I don't have to worry about any of this anymore."
Yeah,
like this is going to be all fine.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
and I think she's talking to Dog in that moment, which is
yeah.
Just like this is not her child, but
I thought it was funny in this timeline in the Wolverine book, the way this book is described. James Howlett is born to John and Elizabeth Howlett at Lake Alberta, Canada, in the late 1800s. A frail child, James befriends young servant Rose O'Hara, as well as the groundskeeper's high-spirited son, Dog Logan. James discovers his mutant powers when Thomas murders John Howlett. His mother later dies too. That's a crazy way to, to say that she is completely ripped to shreds by this and then ends her own life.
Takes her own life with a rifle, yeah.
His mother later dies too.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
nuts.
That's a family-friendly way of saying that, I guess.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wild. Yeah. But I think, so one of my understandings of the reason that maybe she's distant to Logan, James, is that John is not his father.
I wondered that too.
Because they are supposed to be half brothers in this, but I don't think that
I don't know if it's ever explicitly stated. Yeah, but I think there's the implication that's like that is why Thomas feels so much envy toward John.
Sure. Well, he grows up and looks like the groundskeeper.
Looks just like him, yeah.
So I'm like,
definitely
something's not quite right here.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah. So there's which I like that they don't specifically spell that out. It's like they, the creators of this trusted their readers enough to kind of connect those dots on their own and come to their own conclusion. They don't really like create the canon in that way.
No.
And they allow the community to do that. I love that.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really well done book.
It's very good.
We only summarized even, half of it. Like
that's not even the full, like that's like maybe the first couple issues, really.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that happens after that where Logan and Rose run off. Yeah. Logan is then, I keep saying Logan, James, Wolverine, young little baby James, not baby
Logan,
James.
For the record, Logan is the name that Rose gives to James in order to conceal his identity.
Yeah, because they run off and hide, and because he's now been blamed for the killing of his mother and his father.
Yeah.
So it's this whole long thing.
Yeah.
The grandpa doesn't want him there, all this different stuff. He goes off and works at a mill for a long time, and there's a nice man who takes care of him. Eventually, that guy and Rose get together, and there's a bit of jealousy there for James, but he, works through that. He spends a lot of time kind of not processing everything that's happened. Like part of him just kind of shuts down, and that's when he becomes like this feral Wolverine wild man, essentially. There's some like abuse from the big cook and stuff like that. It's really it's so well done. And then it all comes back around really well in a really beautifully tragic way. It's really good.
Yes, it is.
Just it feels so authentic to the character of Wolverine, while really showing us a version of him that is nothing like any version of him we've ever seen before. Totally. Like you watch The Last Jedi, right? And a lot of people see Luke in that, and they had a really hard time connecting the dots on this being the same character from this other place. And I can see it, but I can also understand why that would be really difficult. There is none of that dissonance reading Origin.
Agreed. Yeah. And keeping with the Star Wars comparison, something that you and I make fun of for the Solo movie all the time is the name reveal.
Yes.
This has a great name reveal where because Logan's working in this mine, and that's where he spends a lot of his like teenage and early adult years.
Yeah, he's just rooting around down there.
Yeah, he's just so good at digging, just like a Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is just too good. I didn't see that coming at all as like the inspiration for his nickname.
There's a few things in here like that.
Yeah.
Like even just the name Logan and stuff like that. Like why is he named Logan? How is the name Logan then imprinting on him psychologically?
Right.
That you're putting this guy on him, and now he's got to wrestle like this thing that Wolverine continually has of am I a man or a monster?
Right.
And now you're directly comparing him to this other guy who literally grows up to become a monster man.
Yes.
Essentially.
And comes back and says, you stole my name. That's one of the things he roars at him once they face off again. Yeah.
It is
totally
fantastic.
Yeah. It's really good.
Really good. Paul Jenkins, very quickly, every time I read something by him, he's just quickly become one of my favorite writers. Like I need to look for more Paul Jenkins work because he just does these very like emotional stories that like they happen so quickly. He does them so succinctly. We're talking about doing a little one shot and everything. And I think the Mythos books are a really good thing to look at maybe for how to do a good emotionally impactful one issue story. Because every one of those is done so well.
Yeah.
And even in like a mini series like this, it's just great stuff.
It's really, really good. Yeah. I want to, this is one I want to read again.
Yeah.
Like with a lot of comics, I feel like once I've read it once, it's, you know, it's there and it's great. This is one I definitely go back to at some point. Yeah, absolutely.
We can move further in time. I can read a tiny, tiny bit about what was happening between all of this different stuff.
Please do.
But basically, Logan spent a lot of time after all of this working for different organizations. He, became an unstoppable killing machine, essentially, not knowing what to do with himself. And he was an operative for the CIA and other agencies. His memory at this point is already starting to become kind of spotty. And that's really just because he has lived so many years. He's got this long life because of his regeneration, his healing factor, but it doesn't necessarily keep up his brain and stuff like that the way that I guess the parts of your brain that just have memory, eventually it's going to not quite hold everything.
Yeah.
There's another Wolverine book, the Max imprint book, the rated R, basically, that like Punisher Max and Alias, the Bendis book where Jessica Jones came from. All those are in. There's a point in that one even where he's been like mind controlled essentially, and he just like shoots his own brain off and regrows it, and then the part of his brain that was mind controlled is not there anymore. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah.
This book is a lot.
Yeah. I believe
There's some really good stuff in there. There's some stuff in there that's like, what are we doing?
It sounds like a lot. I'd read it.
It's interesting. I read it and I was like, I don't think this is relevant for the episode. But all that to say, like, that's kind of, he's been doing a lot of stuff for like hundreds of years, basically, at this point. But he eventually becomes the character that we recognize more closely. But he still has all that kind of traumatic history still in his brain.
Yeah.
He's been working with the Canadian government, doing all these secret ops. He's known Sabretooth for a long time now, hundreds of years as well. He met him pretty shortly after Origin, actually, I think. And then accidentally killed his sister, and that's why there's this kind of hate relationship there. And he was working together with him in that operation and everything. And then he starts to outlive his usefulness to them, and he knows too much. So what do they do, Michael?
So then you get to the Weapon X story.
Yeah.
Weapon X is a famous, like, just another moniker for Logan, for Wolverine.
Yeah.
And it's given to him by this Experiment X that these scientists are conducting in order to make the perfect weapon.
Yeah.
That's their whole thing. It's like yet another super soldier experiment that successfully made Captain America, that failed to remake Captain America and made the Hulk instead.
Yeah.
You get something similar with Wolverine.
Yeah.
And that story is really interesting. It follows this doctor. There's a doctor, a professor, and their assistant, I guess. You could say.
Hines.
Hines.
It's Dr. Cornelius,
Yes.
the professor.
Yeah, just the professor.
Yeah. And Miss Hines
Yes.
is the like lab assistant, basically.
Yeah.
It's just the three of them essentially are the main characters of the thing. Logan's just kind of in the background because he's incapacitated, being experimented on for like the entire thing.
And there are other like support scientists and like, security and stuff like that doesn't get named that are moving throughout the facility. But it's a story that's all contained for the most part after Logan is taken off the streets. It's all contained in the laboratory.
Yeah.
Which is really fun. This is the kind of story where I'm like, I need this to be a horror movie. Like, if you've ever seen Cabin in the Woods, give me the ending of Cabin in the Woods, but more serious. And with Logan, like just this animal that they've created pursuing this. So essentially, what it is, they pump him full of adamantium. Yeah, they are like wiping his memory and like feeding into certain things. And throughout, it's kind of interesting because each issue they make progress. Yeah, so it's like it's not like they get it all done in one shot like they do in the movies.
No, it's an extended process. Yeah. And it is unnerving to watch.
It is. It really is.
My only understanding of the Weapon X procedure and everything really came through Origins and X2. Yeah. And I had a general idea of like, I've seen, the big helmet and everything like that in the comics, but I never read this. Yeah. So reading this and seeing how cold and calculated the whole thing is really scary.
No, it is.
Because he's just like a hunk of meat to them. Yeah. And they don't even initially know that he is got this regenerating factor and everything. And the claws, the professor doesn't even know about this because Department H or whoever it was, Team X, I think it was what they were called, who, basically set him up to get his memory wiped so they wouldn't have information that they don't want him to have anymore. They didn't let them know any of this. So they start doing the experiments. A bunch of people get killed and they got to pump him full of loads of elephant tranquilizers and stuff like that to keep him docile. Yeah. But he just becomes like a remote control toy to them.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of it thrown around as the pronoun with which they use to refer to Logan.
They very quickly throw out, do not call him Logan. Yeah. We're trying to deprogram the name. We want him to just be Weapon X. Mm-hmm. He's a creature. Yeah. And everything, like, it's really crazy.
Totally. And Hines is kind of, in a lot of cases, she's the innocent party, or she's like the heart. The
heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
Behind this whole thing. Yeah. She's, she will tell the doctor and the professor, like, like this could cause sufficient pain to the subject. And they'll be like, that's fine. Like at one point she points out, like, the adamantium bonding process it left like barbs in his bones, and she's like, that's what's causing pain in the extrusion of his claws. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's fine. And I'm like, it's one of those, it's another layer of like heartbreak to the story, to the existing story of the character. Yeah. Because it's like all these things that all of a sudden it's just like, oh, he's in constant pain all the time.
Well, and they also added, there's different versions of whether this is the case or not throughout comic history, but the little like things that you see on his gloves, these little things with like cylinders on them. There's some versions where that's just on the glove, and there's some versions where that's part of his hand.
Yeah, keeping his skin open for the claws. Yeah.
So they're literally like mutilating him physically on the outside too, to just make his claws more convenient for them. Yeah. And then he's got to wake up and be like, what the heck is all this stuff on me? Yeah. What are these claws? And, we got to keep rolling. But Barry Windsor Smith does the entire book. He's the writer, artist, colorist, everything except for lettering, which is Jim Novak. And honestly, I mean, the art is incredible in this book. Yes, it is. It's crazy gorgeous. The colors do a really good job too. I really love the art. I could go on for a very long time about the art. However, the lettering is really good. Really for a book that is primarily 3 characters that half the time are not even on the page, it does a really good job of distinguishing who's talking when without any kind of indicator other than the color and the shape of the box. It's so good. Like, I saw the version that I read had an afterword from Larry Hama that he was talking a lot about the lettering and how the kind of boxes that Novak is using are typically reserved for like thought bubbles and editor and author type things and stuff like that. But in this case, it's like doctor's notes and like the kind of minutes, essentially, that they would be looking back on.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone. Sometimes you have a really nice, fancy equipment, and even though you have the fancy, nice equipment, it breaks.
It should work.
It should work.
It stops working.
Unfortunately, it literally stopped working.
Sometimes it stops working right in the middle of us talking about Weapon X.
Yeah, but it doesn't stop working.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't stop working in the room.
Yeah.
It stops working on your computer later
Yeah.
on. So it's 2 weeks later. We're in different clothing.
Mostly.
Mostly. And we're going to keep on trucking through Wolverine. Bear with us. Sorry. And thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay. So if memory serves, we were talking about Weapon X. I think we were right at the end of Weapon X, maybe?
Yes.
Because it sounded like we were saying something about the lab assistant or something. Oh boy. Here we go. Okay. So I think Weapon X is really cool. I think it adds a lot to, it explains a lot of Wolverine's story where there had been a lot of things slowly being unveiled up to this point in his history and his past. But he never had quite all of his memories back or anything. Even this is not a story about him remembering this or gaining these memories back and walking through the facility or anything, which is, I think, something that kind of makes it a bit more unique, where the typical way that you probably would have told this story is by having it be revealed to Wolverine and he learns all of this information, like even like one of the Marvel color books or something. He's looking back, not fondly, but looking back on this thing that happened and everything.
Yeah, but there's no frame here.
Yeah, it's literally, even the way the lettering works, the way that the story plays out, where Wolverine is kind of not really an actual main player in this, it almost reads like if you've ever read court stenography, like you're reading a document about a thing after the fact.
Mostly just quotes.
Yeah, and the pictures are filling in those stories. But if you took all the pictures out, it really reads like the notes of a science experiment. Until there is like a portion of dialogue or something between the professor and the other guy, Cornelius. Yeah. Man, I remember the names.
Good job. Look at you.
And the lady.
It's good, Marshall. It's great.
2 weeks later. Also, I'm sick. Michael seems. Have you been sick? You had a voice going on.
Yeah, last week was rough. Yeah, stuff's going around.
There's we need Wolverine's healing factor here in Nebraska.
We really do. I wish.
But the book is really cool.
Yeah.
It really lives on its own in this world. I don't know, because when did it come out? See, that's interesting.
1991. It was
91. Okay, right around the same time as Wonder Man. Preview. Well, actually, that will already have happened. Everything's great.
Insert the Snow White in her padded room, just
literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in the 90s at that point, you would have learned a good amount about Wolverine's history, but he still wouldn't have had all of this unlocked in his mind. So just trying to figure out where this lies within the continuity of, not within the continuity, but within the real world continuity, I guess. The canon of real life, Michael.
Totally.
What was canon in real life? Did it get retconned at that point?
I hate what the author is doing with it right now. I'll tell you what.
Annoying. Oh boy. I could go on a whole long thing about Lost Highway. This is the thing. This is a really good book. I like it a lot. The art is really cool. Barry Windsor Smith just delivers a masterclass here. This is the kind of book that you read it and you're like, this is fantastic. And you think about, oh yeah, comics are made by a bunch of different people. Well, I wonder what the creative team is. And it's just one guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's wild.
Totally.
It's wild.
Yeah. Extremely, extremely well done.
Yeah.
Again, my favorite of the set that we have here that we're talking about.
Wow.
Yeah. By a long shot, which is that's to nobody's surprise.
By a long box.
By a long box. Cute. You want to go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Up next, we're going to yap about the old giant size X-Men #1.
The first ever giant size X-Men of all time.
The first ever. And it's so good.
It's really fun. I really like it.
Yes. Debuted 1963.
Nope.
75.
75.
That one's 75?
Yeah.
Why do you
Are you looking at the X-Men?
Uncanny X-Men debuted in 1960. There's too many dates we're throwing around. I hate this.
This was less of a mess the first time, guys.
No, it probably wasn't.
Oh, so you're looking at my first
We're gonna go
note.
No,
on
it's
here.
fine. Yes, I did, and that was my own fault.
Okay,
we're
so
gonna go
let's-
back. Hang on. Let me
Michael.
let me just reintro this.
Michael,
What's up?
let's talk about Giant Size X-Men #1.
Giant Size X-Men numero uno
#1.
from 1975,
1975.
written by Chris Claremont, Len Wein, Arnold Drake, Linda Flight, and Roy Thomas.
Yeah. A lot of authors.
Yes, a lot.
Big book.
A lot of cooks in the kitchen for sure, and that's before you get into the artists. You want to hit those?
Yes, penciled primarily by Dave Cockrum and Werner Roth. Maybe that's a Werner Roth. I don't know. Inked by John Verperton. Don't know if you say that way. I'm going to learn about everyone's names. Lettered by the great John Costanza. Colored by Glynis Oliver, who I don't know if I mentioned it at this point yet in the last episode, or if I already said it, or if I'm saying it for the first time. But Glynis Oliver, you might also see credited as Glynis Wine because she was at one point married to Len Wein.
Romantic, and the edit on this.
Well,
is
there's a
gonna be
divorce that probably happened at some point there, so less romantic.
great. Anyways, yes, this is the 1975 X-Men on the legendary Claremont run.
Yep.
Right.
The beginning of it.
Yes, the very beginning. Because the X-Men had debuted 12 years prior.
1963.
In the early 60s. Yeah.
12 years. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Because it doesn't feel like that's such a short amount of time.
Yeah. But it's also not. Like you can get a lot done in 12 years. And in this case, they got a lot done and then they went, okay, we're going to kind of scrap that because it's not working out and we're going to make something new and better. And they put Claremont at the front end of that.
Think about it this way, Michael. 12 years ago, it was 2014.
Yeah.
Does that hurt you inside?
It was a great year. It doesn't feel like that long ago.
Exactly.
Tell me 2014.
That's
that
what
feels
I'm
like
saying.
yesterday. Yeah.
But isn't that so strange to live in a time when Spider-Man was 12 years old? He was only existed for 12 years. Yeah. The X-Men, the same thing. Like the X-Men were not as popular, which is why we eventually got to this place that they were making this new book.
Yeah.
Because they started out as fairly, people liked them good enough, but it just went downhill. It was one of their lowest sellers, Marvel's lowest sellers.
Yeah, kind of a false start on X-Men the first time they tried, and that's why they took a new swing at it with this one.
Yeah. So you get to the mid-70s, it had become one of their lowest selling books, so they said, who cares? Let's get a whole new team and a new creative team, everything like that. So Len Wein and Dave Cockrum were given the job of reviving it with this one-shot book in the form of Giant Size #1. Mm-hmm. The team was intentionally multinational and all new and all different, the classic Marvel phrase.
Yeah.
Wolverine was the only pre-existing character in this group. Everybody else was a new creation for this thing. Well, yeah. But of the new characters on this team, Wolverine, Logan, was the only person to not have been a pre-existing character. So you've got Colossus from Russia, Nightcrawler from Germany, Storm is from Kenya. You've got the Native American guy who we didn't quite remember his name last time. I think it's Thunderbird.
Yep.
I think I was just reading something.
I remembered it.
It might have been in one of the West Coast Avengers books that I was reading where somebody made reference to Thunderbird's death. I don't know. And Sunfire?
And Sunfire?
Sunfire?
Yeah. From Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get all these people. They all join up. Basically, the original X-Men team have gone missing. They went on a mission. Something went wrong. The professor is looking for a new group of mutants instantly to go and find them.
Yeah.
Or maybe just replace them.
Yeah. And so they're seeking after the old team that was in the pre-existing X-Men series, who were lost on a mission to the island of Krakoa.
Yeah.
And so Professor X puts this new team together with Cyclops at the head of it. To go and chase them down. Yeah. And it's very quaint. And as far as Wolverine's part in it, he does get a reference to his actual first appearance. Yeah. Which had been in The Incredible Hulk.
He says something about like this is the hardest fight I've had since I fought the big green guy or something like that.
Well, even before that, I think Professor X says something to him about, we heard about your fight with the Hulk. And then it gives you a handy little footnote of, look at,
check out Hulk number 181.
Yeah, see Incredible Hulk, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, really straightforward story. Honestly, it's a good restart for the X-Men. It's really great.
Yeah.
And of course, having Wolverine on the team, like you can't really picture him not being an X-Man.
No, he really slotted in perfectly there because it doesn't, there's again, this thing of things being so much more recent than you expected them to be. Yeah. We talked about his debut first and then went backwards. But the actual time difference between when he debuted in the Hulk and this is a very short time.
Totally.
So this first appearance in the Hulk is in July of 1974.
Yeah. And what's the issue?
180, 181.
80 and 180.
So it's from July of 74 to February of 75. Mm-hmm. So a little less than a year later, Wolverine shows up again and is just dropped into this thing, and he makes perfect sense here. He very quickly became a fan favorite, even back then. Yeah. Because his personality is just all there from the beginning. It's not often that you can read one of these older books where a character's debuting and really just see them show up for real the first time. Usually you get this strange, like slowly they arrive and become the character that we recognize today. Yeah. I've brought up a lot the different weird things that happen at the beginning of Spider-Man, like they call him Peter Palmer at one point. Yeah. He's got, in one panel, he's got... like he at one point when Mysterio shows up and is dressed as Spider-Man and robs a bank or something, he uses his spider sense to hone in on the location of the helicopter.
Yeah, his famous
that Mysterio is flying. Yeah, his GPS powers.
Yeah, we love that.
But we have none of that here. Like Wolverine is just Wolverine immediately. Like Professor X walks in the office. He does not. Professor
X
is
inconsiderate and offensive.
Sorry, he's already in the office. Wolverine walks in. How rude of him! And doesn't he know? He should be more sensitive.
Should have rolled.
Oh man,
what do they call you?
Can you imagine Wolverine somersaulting into the office?
First thing he says is, "What do they call you?"
Hey, bub. Wheels. Yeah. They call me the Roller. They call me the Ladybug. I would read that book. But he enters the room and Professor X is like, "Hey, I want you on my team." And he's like, "Are you going to pay me?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess so." He's like, "Great. Any excuse to get out of this crap hole." And he's like, "Cool." And he's like immediately like threatening his former boss and like all this different stuff. He's so Wolverine.
Yes.
He's rough and gruff and he's a Canadian cowboy.
Very Canadian. Yeah.
And you just love it.
I think he used the term Donnybrook at one point, either in the Hulk or in this X-Men. And that's always fun.
He calls himself a Canuck and all that stuff.
I love a Donnybrook. Yeah. It's so good.
It's very nice.
Yes.
But yeah, that book is really fun. They do end up, the new team goes and finds the original X-Men on the island of Krakoa, which you eventually, not Krakoa. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I always get Krakoa and Genosha mixed up.
Yeah, they go love their islands.
I know. Island M.
Yeah.
Asteroid M, whatever.
One of them.
But they go there and fight basically the island itself because they realize the island is one giant mutant. Mm-hmm. They're like, whoa, this is crazy. And I mean, that's more or less the story. They have a few little scuffs and fights and they all settle into the X Mansion and everything, but it just kind of goes from there. And there's a lot of adventures that they have throughout Uncanny X-Men. And it's a really, really good time. A while back, started reading Uncanny from Giant Size on. Mm-hmm. At some point, I'll probably go back and read the Kirby and Lee stuff, but comics from the early 60s are kind of hard to push through sometimes.
Yes, they are.
But there is just such a quality to Claremont's writing. If you can manage to start making your brain automatically skip over the giant boxes where he re-explains a character and their powers every single issue, because, you had to. It is really good, and the art's fantastic. You get to see great stuff from Dave Cockrum, from John Byrne has a really good run on X-Men as well. John Romita Jr., that's one of his first jobs at Marvel, is working on Uncanny. Yeah. Paul Smith is a penciler who didn't do a lot of work at Marvel necessarily, I don't think, but his stuff really stood out to me. And it's just really fun stuff. It's like it's where a lot of the things that you think about X-Men are established. Yeah. Like this new team very much is the one that people imagine now. It's the one that is basically in the Fox movies for the most part. Yeah. And even then, like everything gets retroactively kind of changed to be an amalgamation of both teams ultimately, of this original lineup and the Giant Size lineup.
Give me the living island of Krakoa in the live action stuff, please.
I want the living island of Krakoa to be the new leader of the X-Men.
Can he speak?
Maybe.
It might not even be a he.
Is he a he?
That might be very...
My instinct is that Krakoa is a she.
That might be almost as offensive as you saying that Xavier walked into the room.
Hey, man.
You're a monster.
Knowing the X-Men, Krakoa might be a they.
Wow, progressive.
There's options when you're an island. No man is an island, which I guess implies that this island is either a she or a they.
That's so true. Thanks for pointing that out.
I'm really good with pronouns.
Thanks for educating me on that.
I'm happy to help, Michael. Oh man,
that's dumb.
But so I mean, I really like Uncanny X-Men. What I was saying is just that like the writing in this book really holds up for the most part, not just in Giant Size, but for most of that early Claremont run, that late 70s, early 80s stuff. I haven't quite gotten into the 90s yet. That's when Jim Lee comes on and it becomes like the cartoon and stuff like that. But it's just a really good book. It's a really good time. And Wolverine slowly, learns more about himself, not necessarily about his own history, but about who he is and who he thinks he is now, after whatever thing happened to him that he doesn't know what it is.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's good.
So what do you think then about what happens a few years later where Claremont and Frank Miller team up for a Wolverine solo?
Wolverine, first miniseries, September 1982, written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Frank Miller, inked by Joseph Rubinstein, lettered by Tom Orzechowski, colored by Glynis Oliver. So Logan travels to Japan after his letters to Mariko, his girlfriend, are returned unopened, discovering that she has been forced into an arranged marriage by her long-lost crime lord father, Shinjin. Mariko refuses to leave her abusive husband, and Wolverine is poisoned and easily defeated by Shinjin in a duel with practice swords in front of Mariko and her husband. Shinjin dismisses Wolverine as an animal, not worthy of a true samurai steel. And then a lot of different stuff happens. Yeah. Wolverine basically goes on this big journey of trying to discover like who he is. Is he more than an animal? There's a lot of stuff in Uncanny that kind of led up to this point of him struggling with who is he? What's his deal? What's going on? The whole thing that happens with the Brood, where like he kind of goes feral mode, and it freaks everybody out. Every once in a while, he'll get really intense, and Kitty will kind of be like, "Hey, man, calm down."
Yeah.
Like he really has to struggle with a lot of this stuff early on. And this book is the first one where it's his solo book. The X-Men are not in this until the very, 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 very end.
Yes, just for a bit.
But he really gets to struggle with this idea of what kind of man is he, because he doesn't know. This is, as the great David Tennant's first episode as the Doctor is great for that same reason, that he is trying to figure out like, who am I? Like, what am I? Like, maybe I was this other thing before, but I have no idea what I am now. And do I have a choice in that? Is this, do I have a destiny that I'm just going towards that I can't help but eventually end up in? And that's kind of just the way this book goes. There's a lot of back and forth of he ends up working with this assassin Yukio, who is actually secretly working for Shinjin, and then double crosses, and they're fighting the Hand. So that you got all your undead ninjas, every undead ninja that you could possibly want. It's crazy.
Which I love. And then he doesn't have to feel bad about re-killing them.
Yeah, not that he would have.
Which is, it's true. But just in case,
Yeah.
Makes the moral lessons a little easier to swallow. But I really enjoyed this book. This is one of those ones where I picked it up and I went like, why is it that Wolverine can do so much as a character? Like they fit so much into his character. It's like, at the beginning, he's just this guy with metal claws, and that's fine. And then you go back and, he's also a spy for the Canadian government. Oh, and also he's a mutant, and these are his abilities.
Yeah. Oh, and also he's a samurai.
Yes.
Oh, and also he served in World War I and World War II.
Yes. Yeah.
And also,
yeah. It's like he gets two abilities. He gets the claws and he gets the healing, and they're cool in different ways. And it's like there are so many facets to who he is as a character, and I think they all show up in this book. Which I think that's all of those different pieces that work together, I think is what makes him both maybe what I think of as the most perfect balance of a team character and a solo character. You know what I mean? Cause like you can throw him in with the X-Men like they do, of course. and he fits in there perfectly, and you don't have to really think about all of these different parts of him. But when you zoom in and you get him in a solo series like this, then it works. It comes together and it works out really, really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to him that there wouldn't necessarily have been. Like he could very easily have been just tough, gruff guy.
Yes.
Canadian cowboy, angry fellow, small man, big attitude. But they bring a lot of depth to him, and especially in this series is where that starts to open up quite a bit. Totally. It's like if you did not have this Wolverine book from 82, you wouldn't have Origins. You wouldn't have, what else do we talk about? Weapon X, like
any of the solo
all
stuff
of these
that came
things.
After,
It just laid the groundwork for a guy who is much deeper and more complex than what he seemed like up to that point, which is kind of what the story is about. Like that's what the story is wrestling with. Like maybe that's what Claremont was thinking about going into this, of just like, is this all that this guy is? Can I challenge myself into giving him a kind of deeper pathos that he doesn't really have at this point?
Totally. Yeah. The reason why he is the main character in so much of the X-Men media that we know now is, it started, like the framework of that was laid in this series for sure. Yeah. Also the movie The Wolverine with Hugh Jackman is like, it's not 1-to-1 from this book. Like there are distinctions for sure.
The opening is nearly 1-to-1. The rest is a loose inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. But it like holds pretty tight for most of the aesthetic and the cast of characters and that sort of thing. Pretty close. Yeah.
Speaking of aesthetic.
Thank you,
Michael. I can't believe you would do that. That is so embarrassing.
So embarrassing.
I can't believe you would do that.
I'm embarrassed.
I'm zooming in on that right now. The arts in this one is very nice.
It's very nice. I like the Frank.
Arts is very nice.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's work in this is really, really good. It's some of the best stuff that he's ever done, honestly.
Never gets
like
old.
The blocking in it is really cool. The way that everyone is just perfectly framed up all the time. It just looks great. There's a few examples that I can think of specifically. One being, there's just a shot that I really love of Wolverine blasting out a window, and there's about 1,000 hand ninjas outside. Frank Miller does a lot of really good stuff with silhouettes and profiles in this book that is just gorgeous, really high contrast with the background. That's one of those images. The other one is when he first fights Shinjin. It's these widescreen panels like John Cassaday does in Astonishing X-Men and I guess everything else that he's ever worked on. Star Wars and Planetary and the like. That it just is this very well paced out fight where it's a great example of how comics can control the pace of something and can use the paneling to really indicate story as well as just moving through a story. Where if it was a big fight panel and there's a lot of fight happening, whatever, you get a punch here and then a kick there and then somebody kicks over here and it's a big kick. So they go through the panel and it's like, oh, it's crazy. And then you break through the panel. And that's cool and that's comic books and you can do really cool stuff with that. The way this fight plays out is really cool. And especially when you get to the end of the book. So I brought up the first part because in the first part, Wolverine loses. But then you get a very mirrored version of that fight, basically in this final duel against Shinjin, where it's these same widescreen panels. And what it kind of forces you to read it as is a very calculated, highly skilled duel. Yeah. Where there is a move and a counter move, and a move and a counter move. And it's some of the most clear choreography that I've ever seen in any comic. Totally. It's crazy gorgeous stuff.
There's no getting lost in it. It really is like moment by moment, which is so much fun. It's so cinematic, you know.
And Miller again uses these great silhouette moments. He even in these widescreen panels has a really good foreshortening going on. Like he's got a really good level of depth in these panels, even if there's like no background in them half the time.
For sure.
It doesn't feel like a flat image. It's really well done. And the ending of it is really good. Yes. Where you get this move, counter move, move, and then Shinjin gets a great one. He comes down on him, and you get that slice, and there's kind of like an impact frame, and the color emphasizes that and everything. And you see him pulling back and about to go down for a killing blow, and Wolverine catches him. Yeah. And then you just see the fist up against Shinjin's head, and the next panel is Wolverine's face with like, it's so good. His face kind of behind his foreshortened arm going towards the camera a little bit, and then snicked.
So good.
Shinjin's done. It's great. It's very good.
Yeah.
And in that moment, this is apparently an honorable fight and an honorable death. And Mariko says, okay, we're good. Everything's great, actually. Now everything's fine.
Yep.
And the book ends with them sending a wedding invitation to the X-Men, which is fun. So then that starts a whole arc later that the X-Men go to Japan and they meet all these people and stuff like that. And then Claremont actually last year did some more X-Men books in his continuity.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. So he did one of Wolverine and Kitty Pryde in Japan in this time period.
Fun.
It's really interesting. I don't know why. Yeah. It's the same thing like Jeff Loeb just did Hush 2 and was doing some, it's like, why are we going back and like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, back to
that book sucked, by the way.
Golden Age, Silver Age, whatever that is. I don't know when the dividing line is in there.
Bronze. Probably.
Yeah. A good age, nonetheless. A positive one.
A nice aged comic book.
Yes.
There's a slight yellow tone to the color
vintage.
of the paper.
Lovely.
It's pretty good.
I liked it.
We could talk very briefly about modern interpretations in general. I don't have a ton to say about Rucka's run necessarily.
You mean Greg Rucka from 1974?
No.
Okay.
It's like 2003, 2004.
Why'd you put the wrong year on
It was
so
an
many things?
accident. It did not happen for Wonder Man.
Yeah, it's from like the early 2000s. Greg Rucka had a great run on it. He wrote it, penciled by Derek Robertson, inked also by Derek Robertson.
Who people would know from The Boys, probably.
Yes, and
if you've read the comic books The Boys.
And very evidently so if you just give a passing glance to this one. Yeah. Lettered by Chris Eliopoulos. And colored by Studio F.
I remember on the original episode, you really struggled with Eliopoulos, and then you got it, and we were both like, "No, that makes sense. That's an easy name, actually." There's just a lot of letters, is all.
Yeah, there are.
So you made note on this in the original recording of this that Wolverine is a little cylinder of a man.
He's so gross.
Yeah,
he's just a wad of human, or not human, of mutant.
Yeah. Almost superior.
Yeah. And he looks so gross in this. But I like that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
It is cool. Because this is in a weird place in Wolverine history and X-Men history where this is the struggle that I had. And I think that I said this at this point in the episode and not earlier than this. I'll have the transcript. Sure. I'll be able to check back and see.
Yeah, do that.
The thing that I struggled with throughout preparing for this episode was figuring out where all these things lie in continuity, in relation to each other, in relation to other Marvel books, in relation to big event books and stuff like that. Like, had Civil War happened at this point? Had Infinity Gauntlet happened at this point? Have we gotten to House of M? Like, whatever, all these different things. Onslaught, who knows, like all weird stuff.
Yeah.
And this one is kind of a tough one because you read it and Wolverine is kind of a lone ranger again in this one. He's out on his own, maybe for the first time, actually, a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of doing vigilante stuff. He sees something that needs justice and he goes after it.
It's clear he's not a bad guy. Like, even in this series, even though he kind of looks like one and he kind of behaves like one. It's
he's
clear
not a
he's
good
not a bad guy. He just,
he's not a nice guy.
He's very good at not being nice.
He's the mean man.
He loves not being nice, and he loves telling you
that
he's very good at not being nice.
Yeah, or that the thing he does that he's the best at is not very nice.
Precisely. That's what he says all the time.
Yeah.
In some roundabout
way. We made it there.
It's really good.
You know, when bad things happen, and they happen, but because the bad things happen when you don't stop the bad things because of you, it's your fault that the bad thing.
Is that a quote from Peter Spiderman?
That's Uncle Benjamin Parker.
Uncle Benjamin Spiderman.
Uncle Benjamin Parker.
That's good.
Yeah.
He is not shy about being yucky and about killing people. And it's great.
Yeah.
And we love to see it. And they do it kind of tastefully in this, where it's kind of off camera, out of frame for the most of it.
Yeah. It is interesting that you get a real evolution of the character here, where in the 70s, he's not as ruthless and violent and intense. Like, he's got the feral rage and stuff like that, but it's not as over the top. And I guess if you think about it in continuity, this is a version of this character that has been in a much darker world, where kind of what I was talking about continuity before. This is in the wake of Grant Morrison's New X-Men, where the X-Men became more of a Black Ops organization a little bit. They were much less public facing. Intentionally, Wolverine became the leader of the X-Force, which was kind of literally like a Black Ops unit, and he would carry out, hits and operations for Professor X.
Yeah.
So the world has gotten scarier and more intense and darker for mutants at this point. So Wolverine kind of reflects that. Like, he has gotten more brutal. He is much less attached. He's very detached, but he still has that heart of gold. Like, he's still
something.
Yeah. Adamantium.
Yeah.
He still really cares. Like, there's a part of him that hurts deeply when bad things happen, because he doesn't want those. Like, he cares. He genuinely cares. So the first arc of this story is this human trafficking thing. This girl who works at a diner basically tries to get him to help her, but it's too late, and she's killed by these two cultists, these human trafficking cultists. And the long story short, Wolverine ends up going and stopping this operation just because this girl asked him to, and because, all this, like, because he cares. He doesn't need a bigger reason than that.
Which pits Logan up against not just the human traffickers, but against, I think, I know the ATF comes into this.
So there's a woman is one of the main characters of this is an ATF agent whose name I can't remember right now because it was 2 weeks ago, as we have said, who is working undercover at a gun show and comes across Wolverine when he is basically starting to go and try to root out what's going on here. And she becomes fascinated with him. Initially, it seems well written, and like she's just really interested in like, what's this guy's deal? Like, as a reporter kind of way almost, or as like an investigator. And then there is kind of a relationship that happens there. And then when Mark Millar comes on, he just kind of like discards that character, which then retroactively makes that kind of weird and gross.
Yeah, a little bit.
Of like, did she just have like a fetish for Wolverine or something? Because you did build
a
up
little slab of a man.
Yeah, like you did build up. Rucka does not write her that way for the most part, a little bit, but there is more to her character than that.
Yeah.
And then Mark Millar is just not interested in doing that. And then, part of that is because Astonishing began. So you have to change directions on the character suddenly, and it's much more superhero-y again and stuff like that. But these first two volumes are very much very grounded. Logan being a vigilante, being a outlaw. What am I trying to think of? Like a Western justice kind of.
Sure. Yeah.
Like he's good judge, jury, and executioner, essentially.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This one, there's not a ton to say about beyond that. Like it's definitely worth the read. It's one of my, just visually, it's one of my favorites. Again, we made the comparison to Todd McFarlane's art. But even more than that, I think that, cause it's kind of, everybody's just kind of stocky, just like strange proportions on human beings.
Yeah.
And I like
that aspect. I can see. Cause Derek Robertson doesn't have like crazy amounts of superfluous detail in lines the way that like Derek Robertson's lines are super clean. And I think sometimes you look at stuff from this era and the problem is more the colors. That like, if you see Derek Robertson's commissions and stuff like that, his work in black and white is beautiful. It's crazy. It's like one of the top, like he's genuinely incredibly talented, but colors from the late 90s and early 2000s kind of let lines down a lot of the time because they're still figuring out how to use the digital technology. So you get stuff that's really heavily airbrushed, that, in comics you have to work fast. So maybe these things didn't actually get the time they needed. But Robertson's lines are crazy good. I think the colors are sometimes what makes it look a little more grungy than it ought to have been.
Oh, sure.
But I think one of the things that we had talked about is that the feeling of these two first arcs, Coyote Crossing and whatever the first one is, that they feel in vibe like Spawn.
Sure.
To me, if Spawn was good.
Yes. Oh, totally.
Spawn feels like that same kind of gross, grungy underbelly of the world thing, but this feels like doing it in a way that works and makes sense for the character.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate Spawn, but I do think that this plays a little bit better.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has the benefit of however many years worth at this point of Wolverine history to work with. So that's kind of like, there's a little bit of an advantage there. Now, nevertheless, visually and just, tonally, I guess would be the word for it. It just has a similar sort of feeling to the grunge. But it's an interesting point about the colors. That does make a huge difference in setting that tone. So I like that quite a bit.
Thank you, Michael.
But this is not one of my favorite portrayals to look at, but one of my favorite portrayals to be an artistic choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's while it's not pretty, it is unique, and that I enjoy.
Yeah. I think what you were saying about Wolverine having the benefit of having all this history, that's what I was kind of thinking too, is that he kind of does get this handicap in that you are able to just slot him into this and have it like for this character. It does make sense to tell this kind of story.
Yeah.
If you put Cyclops in this world, I would be interested to see how that would play out. It would play out extremely differently, probably. Also, depending on what era of Scott that is. Because if it's the 1970s Scott, then he's still a Boy Scout, really intense about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If it's this era of Scott, he's very disillusioned. And if it's modern Scott, then he's full-on Marxist revolutionary.
Right.
So, like, what a journey that character's had.
None of them might ever be like caught, let themselves be caught dead in a situation like what Logan is in this series too.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it.
It's very good. I would check it out. Would you check it out?
Yeah, check it out.
Cool, Michael.
Read a few issues of it at least. See if you like the vibes.
Yeah, and the Mark Miller stuff is okay too. I like John Romita Jr.'s art. It definitely, we're firmly in modern JRJR at that point compared to his work on Uncanny, where he did a lot of good stuff with Wolverine, and he made that weird costume for, I almost said Rasputin. That's the last name, Colossus.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's wrap it up, Michael, so we can talk about A Wonderful Man for an episode that will air 3 weeks ago.
Let's do it, baby. We love Wolverine. We love talking to you guys about it too. So thank you for sticking with us through our weird technical difficulties, all of those things that we have to work through.
That's right.
We are here giving you the best content that we can. We're Michael and Marshall. Our socials are in the description down below.
Yep.
Links to my book, links to Marshall's artwork.
Wow.
We can also throw in if we have to, I guess.
Here's a couple of them. They're Wolverine.
I guess.
Boom.
Support Marshall's his little hobby.
Thank you. It's pretty good. I'm going to be at Tri-City Comic-Con in July.
Stop. You're not. You are really?
Or in June.
That's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm a guest this year.
Well, Marshall didn't invite me to come with him, so.
You should come with me.
I'm going to be hanging out with somebody else.
No, you should come to at least one day. It's in Grand Island, so you can come out for one day and then sit at the table. And because I would really love to have like stickers of the logo of the show, but that's kind of expensive.
Let's get the live invite right here on camera. Okay, fine.
Whatever, man.
I accept.
I'm sitting next to Bob. That's our table's next to Bob. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So, I just want to say thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. By the time, assuming that things progress the way that the numbers are progressing, we're probably at 200 subscribers by the time that this episode comes out.
Yes, and thank you.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Huge thank you. It's crazy that we celebrated 100 like 3 episodes ago, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. And we're already to 2. Hopefully I'll cut this. But yeah, just thank you so much, all you guys, for being here, for the big support and the big, all the comments and encouragement under our Marvel Colors compilation episode, all the people saying how much they love the show and how they think more people should listen and watch. I agree. And thank you for telling us that. We love to hear that you enjoy what we're doing. And if you do enjoy what we're doing, share it with a friend, send it to everybody you know. And if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll just hunt you down and steal your Rolodex and send it to everybody ourselves. But thanks.
A Rolodex.
Everybody's got a Rolodex.
That's true.
I've got mine.
I got to check mine to call my mom, even. Dude, she's in there.
I don't need a Rolodex to call Linda.
We love you guys a whole lot. Thank you for being our community. Thank you for walking through this whole thing with us. We love you very much. Keep reading comics. Love you.
Good luck.